Good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday, and welcome to another edition of Dreamstruck. We are so happy to have each and every one of you join us. Tonight, you are in for an amazing treat. Debbie Pitts-Palmer was amazing, and she was able to reach out to our guest speaker, which is Chelsea Otto, and she's going to be joining us tonight. If you're not following her on Instagram yet, you are missing out. So I encourage you to find her on Instagram. She does an amazing job balancing her personal life, her hobbies, her talents, her business. It just is amazing. So really wonderful person to follow on Instagram. Before we jump in to everything, I want to encourage everyone to get a notepad. Because we always want to make sure that there's a call of action, something that you can take away to pour into your own business that can help you. So make sure that your phones are on mute. I think tonight, we don't have Carol on tonight. She has some exciting things happening in her life. Her daughter got married, and so they are celebrating tonight with the dinner. I know that also Dorothy is doing an awesome event tonight. So you're going to have myself, you're going to have Kelly Rashaw in Minnesota, you're going to have Emily Goodneck in Canada, and also Amber Turner, and I feel like I'm missing one, so sorry.
I'm actually here. This is Dorothy. I'm actually here today, so.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, and Debbie Pitts-Palmer should be on as well. So we're going to go ahead and turn this over to our guest speaker, Chelsea. I want to introduce her very quickly, though. She has a family. She is a wife to, I don't know if her husband's officially retired yet, but I know he's in the process. She is an excuse buster. She doesn't take any excuses from herself or anyone else. She is an amazing decorator. Oh my gosh, she has just really been given a gift when it comes to home decor. I love following that about her as well. She leads an empire, but here's what's really amazing is that, like most of us, life, throws us lemons, and she's not immune to it. She has definitely had her challenges, which she's going to speak with us about tonight, some of the adversities that she's reached in life, but then also how she's overcome that to now having an organization, a massive organization that she leads. She's also going to talk to us about some of the systems and practices that she utilizes so that way she can have this wonderful balance that we were just talking about. And Chelsea, before we hand it over to you, I just want to kind of go around to the panelists for just a moment. And if you can share in just 1 minute, something about Chelsea that stands out to you. So we'll start with Debbie.
Hello, guys. First of all, I love Chelsea. I met her first at Cincy Family, not Cincy Family, but in home office. We were there, the annual mentors were there, and that's when I met her. And we connected. And what I love most about Chelsea is that she's real, she's authentic, she gives more than she takes. So whatever you see out there, whatever the pictures that Teresa was talking about, her decorating skills, she's always sharing those things. I mean, that's what stands out to me about Chelsea. I just love her.
Thanks, Debbie. Emily?
Yes, I love me some Chelsea. We have a lot of very similar viewpoints on how we run our business and just sort of our overall feeling of leadership. And so we've had a couple really good heart-to-heart open conversations via private chat. And I just love her so much. And when I'm thinking something and I'm like, am I crazy? She's like, no. She's like, I totally get you. And so she's a wonderful confidant. And so above the fact, yes, she's an amazing leader, but she's an even better friend. So that's what I love about Chelsea.
Thanks, Emily. All right, Kelly.
Chelsea. I met Chelsea last year at a leadership retreat. We were supposed to meet 2 years before that, so I was really bummed when I didn't get to meet her. So last year we met in the middle of Tennessee, and I'm trying to think back to that. And I found out she swore, and that put me at ease because I was kind of nervous. And once I found out she swore, then I was like, okay, she can be my people. So we had so many mutual friends, and I started to hear little bits and pieces about her story. So I hope she shares a little bit of her past and her story and her beginning stages, because it's truly heartfelt and heartbreaking and successful, and all the things that you would ever want in a story. It's like a movie almost. So I hope, Chelsea, you share little bits and pieces of that with everybody.
All right, Dorothy. Thanks, Kelly.
So Chelsea has always been an inspiration for me ever since Boot Camp 32. So ever since then, anything she's done, she shared or whatever, I think she's an amazing leader, and she's just a true inspiration for how much she shares with all of us.
Thank you, girl. And Amber Turner.
So I'm pretty sure I first met Chelsea at that home office visit that Debbie was talking about. And ever since then, of course, we've just followed her and conversed with her more, gotten to know her more. And what I love about Chelsea is, I mean, not only at the adversity that she's come through and how she's allowed that to just absolutely grow her as a person and a leader, but her genuineness, if that's the right word. She is so genuine. She is one of the sweetest people I've ever met. Definitely one of the sweetest Cincy leaders I've ever met. And y'all are just in for such a treat hearing from her tonight. I'm excited.
Thank you, Amber. And I have to say that I also met Chelsea in person for the first time at a retreat in Tennessee that Kelly was talking about. And I think of all the rock stars that were there, and there were so many, I was most excited to meet her. And then when I got there, I just kind of punked out and was too shy. So hopefully there'll be another opportunity, maybe at Disney. But anyway, the floor is yours, Chelsea. We just wanted to offer a warm welcome to you, and we can't wait to hear you share with us.
Oh my goodness. You guys just made me feel like I'm walking on clouds. Like, it's so good to hear those things. And I just appreciate every single one of you. And I hope you all know how much you mean to me, how much of an inspiration you are to me. Even if I haven't told you, you are. Okay, so first I have to say, I am getting over a cold. So I have a really annoying cough right now. It just won't go away. It's being really annoying. So if you see me grab cough drops, or if I mute real quick to cough so I'm not rude and I drink water, just roll with it, because that's just how I'm literally rolling with it. So I've been with Cincy for almost 10 years. This September will be 10 years, which is insane to me at the fact that I've been with a company this long, especially a company that when I joined, I was like, is this really something? Because I was a huge skeptic before. And I am going to go over my story tonight because that's really important. And that is a huge reason of my success and my failures, and how I've had to evolve and pivot and all the things. And it's just a part of who I am as just me. So again, I started 10 years ago. Before I started, I had tried Cincy before, and I had ordered from some random person. We were in North Carolina at Camp Lejeune. Not sure if any of you guys are there. My husband had just gotten back from Afghanistan at that point, and we were not doing well financially in the beginning, but we had a little bit of money, and I got myself the full-size Rustic Star warmer and the matching Nightlight Rustic Star warmer. Any of you OGs who are on here, you know what that warmer is. And I ordered a Black Raspberry Vanilla and Love Story. Those two are still staples in my house, and I get them in my club because they just remind me of when I first joined, and even before I first joined. And I never heard from that consultant. Never. Still to this day, though, I get her emails, which is really weird. So that's why you guys should always follow up with those random PWS orders, because you never know what could come from it. And I always think to myself, I'm like, man, does she even know? Like, does she know? But anyways, so bills were piling up, and I was working at the Babies R Us, Toys R Us there in Jacksonville, North Carolina, which was a joke because all of my paychecks went to daycare. So I was basically working for free, and who wants to work for free? Not me. I ain't got time for that. And my husband kept coming home. And by this time we had just found out that we were expecting our second child, and which we were super excited about. and it was a huge blessing at that time. And I immediately got put on bed rest because I started having complications right away. So leaving my job at Babies R Us, Toys R Us there wasn't going to hurt us financially because, again, all my money went to daycare. But I've been working since I was 14 years old. So watching my husband work and me not, it just never settled right with me. And bills were piling up, like I said. We were at a point where we were asking friends and family for help. And that's not me. That, like, I hate asking for help, especially when it comes to financial things. And we wrote checks praying that they didn't bounce. Like, before my husband's payday, we would write checks. And I remember just going and writing about like a $40 check so we could put $10 in gas and get a little bit of groceries at the grocery store, and praying that that check never bounced. We would flip couch cushions looking for change. We'd go through our glove compartments in our vehicles and pray that there was some quarters or even pennies in there that we could use. So times were really tough, and it actually became a huge thing between our marriage. It was starting to make our marriage really rough. And at that point, we were still newlywed-ish, and we were still trying to figure out parent life, and we were expecting a second child on top of all of that. So it was a lot. But my husband came home one day and he was like, hey, so-and-so's wife, a guy that he worked with, she sells that Scentsy stuff. And I was like, okay, why are you telling me this? And he was like, you should do it. And I was like, are you kidding me? Or what? And I think I threw out every excuse, literally every excuse in the book. Like, I don't know anyone. I'm the new girl here. I'm the new girl on base in the new state, new city. No one back home is going to buy from me, blah, 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 blah. You name it, I probably said it. And he came home a couple times and he was like, I think you should really do this. And finally, like, enough was enough with our financial issues. And I said, literally, nothing is going to ever change in our finances if I don't make a change, or if he doesn't make a change. And I don't want him working any more than what he already was. He was a junior Marine. He was gone all the time. And I was like, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe if I make like $100, that would make a difference in our life at that point. And so I joined. I literally took the last little bit of money that we had in our bank account, took a huge leap of faith, and prayed that our bank account didn't go in the negative, because that would have been awful. But I joined, and that was when it started. So I got my kit, and everything was going great. Again, I was still having complications. I was still put on bed rest. I started sharing it on social media, on Facebook, because that's where like all my friends and my family were from back home. And they started buying a little bit here and there. I got it to Shooting Star, which I was really shocked about. I was like, doesn't anyone back home in Ohio know what Scentsy is? Apparently not at that point. So things were going pretty well. And then 2 weeks into my business, we had our very first obstacle we had to overcome, which was one of the hardest obstacles I've ever had to overcome. My husband was away for training, and I went in for a baby appointment for an ultrasound, and they couldn't find the heartbeat. And at that point, I was 17 weeks pregnant. They had to Red Cross him home because he didn't have any cell service or anything where he was at for private training. So they had to Red Cross him home, and I had to give birth at 17 weeks pregnant, 12 hours of intense labor. It was the worst. Going into a hospital pregnant and coming out with empty arms was the worst thing that could have happened to me. It led me down a really bad, very bad depression, to the point where I didn't even know if I really wanted to be here anymore. I asked God, why are you doing this to me? Why are you putting me through this? Why me? Why our family? And I was mad. I was angry. I was sad. I was helpless, and nobody could help me because I didn't let anyone help me at that point. And grieving comes in all different shapes and sizes. And my business got put on the back burner. I didn't care about my business enough to have an excuse busting conversation. I didn't care about it at that point, because I wasn't fully committed. That wasn't a big thing. I wasn't fully in because I didn't see the future at that point. So I can't tell you what got me out of it, but I do know I woke up one day and I said, I can't live like this anymore. I can't live just being sad all the time, because that's not me. If you know me, I'm one of the most optimistic people in the world. You could have the worst day. I could have the worst day and I would still make it a good day somehow, some way, probably decorating. But I said, okay, I have to put my energy into something else. And that is when I put all of my energy into my Scentsy business. I dove right on in. I didn't tiptoe back in. I jumped in. I did a huge cannonball. I made a huge splash. And right then and there, I knew I wasn't going back. There was no turning back. I was pushed into a corner. I was tired of my family living paycheck to paycheck. I wanted more. I needed more for our family. Like, I craved it at that point. 4 months in, I got my very first team member, and business just blew up from there. I can't tell you exactly what it was, but I know that I was consistent, and I know that I saw that there was a bigger picture to all of this. There was a bigger reason for everything. And I was just hungry. Like, I was hungry for my goals. I was hungry to get us out of debt. I craved it. And I was all in 100%. And I think that that's what made a difference in my business to the other consultants that were around me, because there were other consultants on my block, guys. It's the whole, saturation with Scentsy, all that stuff. That's a joke. To me, it's not saturated. I don't look at another Scentsy consultant and look at that person and go, that's my competition. I look at that consultant and go, I'm going to learn from her so I can better myself in my business, because that's what we should be looking at. So I hit director within a year, or my very first trip to the Bahamas. I couldn't go because the Marine Corps sent us, gave us new orders, and we moved to Quantico, Virginia. So after about 1.5 years of my business, we moved, and I was the new girl all over again. I was like, seriously, I just spent all this time building my business in North Carolina, and now I got to start over. So I had 2 options: keep going or give up all the work. It's always a choice. You always have options, and you always have a choice. I made the choice to stay, to stick it out, to see what could I do in Virginia. I looked at it as an opportunity to grow my customer base and my team. And how I did that was I made it so simple. And I've had this conversation with my husband so many times recently, just last week. I'm like, I don't know what I do to get people to buy or to get people to join. Like, that's a real problem for me, because I don't know. And he's like, you make it easy. And I was like, how do I make it easy? I need to know these things. And it's simply because I build relationships with zero expectations of anyone ever buying or joining. I genuinely build relationships. Scentsy is not like the first thing I want to talk about. I want to get to know them. I want to invite them to my house, and I want to have cookouts. I want to have pool parties. I want to have all the fun. I want our kids to be friends, all the things. I am that type of person where I'm just like, come on over, hang out. Let's drink so much coffee. Let's have fun. And it just comes naturally. And I'm blessed that I have that trait, that I can do that. And that's what built my business in Virginia. For 4 years, I was building relationships, and people, I call my house my storefront, because the first thing they see is Scentsy, and the second thing they smell is Scentsy. It's Scentsy as soon as they walk in, but I don't have to talk about it. It's a natural conversation starter where they're like, oh my gosh, your house smells so good. What is that? It actually happened tonight before my call, when our neighbors came over to show me their brand new baby. And they came to my front door because I was like, I don't want to get her sick. But my window was down and they could smell. I have the new Chase Rainbows in my warmers. And they're like, oh my gosh, what is that? And I was like, it's a new collection. When I feel better, you're going to have to smell it. So it's a natural conversation starter. And they already know that I sell Scentsy and that I'm the crazy Scentsy lady on our block. It's fine. But that's what it is. My house is my storefront. It speaks volumes for everybody when they wash their hands. When they go in my bathroom, they see everything. When they go to my sink, they see everything. My couch smells like Scentsy fresh. all the things. I don't have to force it on anyone because it's literally right in front of their face. So business started growing really fast in Virginia. I got involved with my kids' school, my husband's job, anywhere that I could get involved to build relationships, I did. And I hit SSD, I hit Star Director and SSD within 2 months of each other. I hit SSD within 3 years of being with Scentsy. And I earned top 100 trip for the very first time, but I couldn't go because my husband got declined orders to go, or permission to go to Amsterdam or Africa. So we went to Punta Cana. It was super, super, super fun. And then life threw another curveball. My husband got new orders after 4 years, and I was like, okay, well, where are we going? And he was like, I hope you're sitting down for this. I was like, no. He's like, you might want to. And I was like, just tell me where we're going. He said, we're going to Japan. I think I stopped in my tracks immediately and was like, you're joking, right? He said, no, we're moving to Japan. I said, okay. Okay. So how am I going to do this? I think in that point in my life, I was like, I don't know if I could do this over in Japan. I don't know. But I continued. I pushed through. We were only allowed to take 16 bags with us to Japan. Everything else, all of our household goods got put onto a ship to float in the middle of the ocean. And it took 2 months to get to me. But I had 16 bags, and all I was allowed to bring was my Scentsy Go, a set of pods, a nightlight warmer, 2 bars, and my business cards. That's it. That's all I was allowed to bring, which really sucked. But I made it work. We got there, and it was a huge culture shock. I didn't know anybody. I'm not in a new state or a new city. I'm in a new country, 13 hours ahead of the States. How am I going to do this? Well, thankfully, I had a Scentsy t-shirt on, and it was my son's first day of school. And a girl saw it, and she goes, oh my gosh, you sell Scentsy. And I don't know about y'all, but when people say that to me, I don't care how long I've been with Scentsy, I get so excited. Like, that is like, oh, yes. Someone else doesn't know what Scentsy is, or someone needs Scentsy, and I got them. So she came over and she was like, you sell Scentsy? And I said, yes, I do. And she listed off in so many bars. She's like, do you have these on hand? And I was like, I probably do, but all of my stuff is floating in the middle of the ocean somewhere. I have no idea. We just moved here. I said, but I have these 2 bars that I can make samples of. I made the tiniest samples, y'all, like so small. And I gave her my business card, and I said, hey, if you need anything, you let me know. I will process your order. It's all good. She loved the fact that I made a joke out of it and that I was super chill about it. I didn't freak out, or I didn't just go, no, I don't have any of that. I made the effort. I went the extra mile, made some samples, and gave it to her when I didn't have nothing. She's on my team now. We'll just say that she's on my team now. And it was just simply because of how I share and just how I naturally share, and that I never force anything. But because of that, word of mouth started. That's how I grew my business in Japan, was word of mouth. I was doing like 12 parties a month. I don't do parties. I am not a party person. So I had to get very uncomfortable to do these parties, which also led me to grow, which was amazing. People were hearing my referral programs over there. And there's lots of laws over there with direct sales in Japan. Japan does not believe in direct sales. They don't believe that that is how you should work, which is fine, respectfully. So there were ways that I had to get around it to work the system in the best way that I could. And I was also like a single mom there, because my husband was deployed about 96% of the time. And so it was hard. I was running my kids all over on top of running all my business. I was getting up 13 hours, not getting up 13 hours ahead. I was getting up early to train my team to talk to my customers. I was staying up super late to train my team, talk to my customers. So I made it work. Was I tired? Yeah, but I never let anyone know that, because I knew that by working like this, it was going to get us closer to our bigger goal, which my husband and I, we wanted him to do the 20 years, retire, and then do Scentsy with me full time. That was the big goal, and retire, build a house, blah, 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 all the things. So November of 2018 came. And that was when our life got rocked. That was when our life literally took a 180. That was when our life changed forever, forever and ever and ever. Amen. Forever. My husband, we had just had a huge typhoon come through Japan. Lots of stuff and people's stuff were destroyed. He went on a humanitarian mission and somehow ended up in the ocean. So the waters over there in Japan are deadly. There were certain times where you couldn't even go near the beach because the water and the current would suck you in. Like, it was bad. So my husband was over by Tinian. It's a third world country. It's a really small island. And he was helping them get all of their power and water and all that stuff back together. And it was the day before they were supposed to come home. They had an R&R day because they had just accomplished everything they needed to accomplish. Well, he jumped in and the current was completely fine when he jumped. The second that second foot left that rock that he jumped off of, the current started. So it sucked him in and it pulled him 2 football fields out. Excuse me, 2 football fields out from the island. The other Marines that were with him tried to get him. At that point, if they would have gotten in, they would have died immediately. So he was out there for an hour and a half. The reason why is because it's a third world country. Everything is very slow. They needed to go get help and they needed to also keep everybody else safe, rightfully so. And my husband was getting stung by jellyfish left and right. It was very hot over there still in Japan. Like, the sun beats you. That's what it does. And he was just getting cut up by coral left and right. To this day, he still has scars and everything. He still has coral actually in his skin. It's really crazy. And he was just getting his butt kicked, getting wiped out left and right there. His lungs started getting filled up with water, and to the point where he almost gave up. And he said he saw our kids, and that's what kept him going. Because when you're in that kind of situation, you kind of like hallucinate. And I'm kind of glad he hallucinated because he saw our kids. And at that point, he says he doesn't remember after that. He blacked out, and by the grace of God, somehow, some way, he ended up placed down on a huge thing of coral that the guys could actually grab him and pull him off onto the beach, where then he had a seizure. So they medevaced him to Guam. And right before they medevaced him, that's when I got the phone call of Mrs. Otto. We almost lost your husband, but we got him. And my response was like, how did you almost lose my husband? He's not a small man. Like, my husband's not teeny tiny. He is a bulky man. And I will never forget when my heart dropped, because that's a phone call you never really want to get. You never want to get that phone call. And they showed me him. I talked to him. He actually, he doesn't remember anything because his eyes were like they were everywhere except me, because he was so out of it and dehydrated and everything. And thankfully we were surrounded by great people. When I called one of the girls that I live next to, and I said, this is what's happening. And I'm bawling. And our entire neighborhoods, we all lived like in a tower, because that's how they're built. They're built with cement because of the typhoons. Everybody in our tower, AKA apartments, came to our house and stayed with me and took my kids and got them fed and took care of me. And it was, I'm just so grateful that we had all of them at that moment, because I don't think I would have been okay. I wasn't okay. I didn't sleep at all that night because I was on the phone with his colonel. I was on the phone with the doctor all night long. And in the midst of all of this, for some crazy reason, I was still working my business, still working. Crazy. I don't know. I guess that since he just became my outlet, like, okay, let me focus on this for a minute so I don't have to think about something else right now. And he came home the next day. Everything seemed fine. He was able to clear to come home. He got home, and by the way, guys, my story is very long, so I do apologize. He came home and something still didn't seem right after the next day or two. Something still didn't seem right. I rushed him back to the ER. They did a CT scan on his head, and there was a tumor on the left side of his brain. So because of the accident, we discovered that there was a tumor on the left side of his brain. At that point, we looked at each other and we're both, I am trying to stay super strong. I see him, you know, a big BA Marine. I normally do cuss, but I'm keeping it PG on here just for all of you. But he was trying to stay so strong. And I was like, you're allowed to be upset. This is okay to be upset about. And we both lost it. They told us that we were coming back to America, and because they could not help him there. So we packed up our 16 bags again and came back to the States, where they did the biopsy, and it did come back as brain cancer. So because of his accident, we were able to discover he had full-blown brain cancer on the left frontal lobe of his brain, which is the part of the brain that is one of the most important parts of the brain. And we were in a hotel at that point. So I was working my business in a small hotel with my husband and my 2 kids, and no other place to work except for on my bed. And it was hard. It was uncomfortably hard. It was, oh my gosh. I just remember sitting there. I'm like, how am I going to do this? And like, I knew there was a bigger purpose. I kept hearing the word move. Something big was coming. Like, I kept hearing the word move. And I actually have somewhere over here, somewhere on my shelves, a little block that says move. And it gives me like goosebumps every single time, because I was like, I don't know what this is going to I don't know what's going to happen now. Our life literally just got flipped. What's going to happen? So February 14th, my husband had brain surgery. And the day before his brain surgery, the night before, we were in the hospital, and I was doing a training for my group in the hospital room. Right behind my laptop, my husband was getting prepped for surgery the next morning. Insane. And the doctor was cracking me up because he was asking my husband, like, what's that Scentsy stuff she's talking about? Or what is this? Like, I kept hearing that during my training. So it was funny, but it was kind of like, oh my gosh, like this, if you are working your business at home and I'm working it from a hospital room before my husband's brain surgery, that's a problem. You can literally work it anywhere, and there is no excuse as to why you can't. And that's when it like really clicked into my head. I was like, oh my gosh, like if I can do this, anybody else can do this. If I can work from a hospital room, anybody else can do this. So surgery went great. And that wasn't even the hardest part. Like, there's a lot more to come. And after that, he had 6 intense weeks of radiation. And that was every single day for 6 weeks. It was hard. I had to work from my car. I had to work from the radiation guest, like their waiting room, which had 0 service. I had to do coaching calls from my car or the cafeteria that they had there. And in that moment, I knew I had to make my business very simple. I had to simplify everything. And I've learned through a lot of these situations that the way you work with your business is going to evolve based on what's going on in your life. And I'll get into that with my systems at the end, because that's how these systems were created. But after radiation, he had chemo, and chemo was the worst part of everything. Worst part. Lots of really hard nights. My husband got really depressed. He is fully aware that I talk about this stuff with sensitive people, and he's okay with it. And he started resorting to drinking and taking his opioids a lot more than what he was supposed to. He got really depressed. He didn't want to be here. It was a really hard battle. It was a hard battle for our marriage, for my husband, for me, and for our kids. And in that moment, like right after that, my husband had a really bad allergic reaction to one of his seizure meds, because my husband is now epileptic, but he was on seizure medicine that caused his throat to close up to the point where they had to call rapid response. After that, my husband also had a seizure. And guys, in the middle of all this, I'm working. Okay. Like, I am working my business still. I am showing up. I am working my business. Even on the days that I am exhausted, I am showing up. Even I showed up to a training one day with tears in my eyes because I was so exhausted and I was mentally done, but I still showed up. I know I probably shouldn't have. I probably should have canceled it. But I also wanted to show people it's okay to go through really hard things in life and still show up. Again, I probably should have told them that I needed to not do that. Probably been the responsible thing for me, but it inspired a lot of people at that moment when I was coming on, like ready to go, wipe my tears, ready to go. But right before Christmas of 2020, my husband had a seizure that almost took his life. It was a 5-minute seizure. I've never seen a seizure until that day. All my husband's seizures were done with the Marine Corps or with doctors, never with me. And that still plays a huge traumatic role in our life every single day, because now he is fully epileptic, also with brain cancer and PTSD and TBI. I mean, I could list a whole bunch of things that our family goes through every single day, because it's not just my husband who goes through this. We as a family go through it. And so in 2020, you know, I finally was like, okay, we have to make it. Like, my husband was getting put up for medical retirement. And for 2 years, it took him 2 years to finally, well, technically 3, but 2 years to finally retire. He retired on December 30th of 2021. Thank the Lord. Thank gosh, it took forever. But in 2020, I said, you know what? I want to go buy a house. Let's go find a house. You're retiring. It was part of our bigger goal, but it's happening sooner. But let's go buy a house. And I would not have been able to say that if it wasn't for Scentsy. And I get emotional every single time I talk about it, because looking back from where we started, to how I grew up, to where we were when I first started, to being able to go house hunting. We've never owned a house because we've always lived on military bases. And I never wanted to buy a house when we're moving every 3 to 4 years. I never will forget signing all the 100 bajillion documents that you have to sign for buying a house. My hand was shaking when we finally signed the day that we bought it, the day we got the keys. My hand was shaking, and my realtor, bless his heart, he goes, "Are you okay?" And I said, "This is the scariest thing I've ever done, but I'm so excited," because that was on my goal list for 2021, was to retire my husband. And not to say I retired him, but to say that he can retire and heal. I work hard so my husband can heal from all of the traumatic injuries that he has gone through. And it still it still cracks me up to this day. I'm like, how did I get here? Like, how? And it's seriously because I just didn't stop. I was hungry for all the things that I wanted for myself and what I wanted for our family. And when our life got flipped upside down, I knew that I had no other option, because I'm my husband's caregiver to this day. My husband's memory is slim to none. Like, it is not there. So I am not only a caregiver, I'm a memory bank. That's what I call myself. I'm my husband's memory bank. Whenever he thinks of something, he tells me, and I put it in my little memory bank. And every single day we go through things, every single day. And to let y'all know, my husband, he is doing so much better now. I think he was more excited to grow a beard instead of retirement. Like, that's his thing right now. He's so excited. But he's going through therapy. He's getting help. And it's amazing that Scentsy was able to not only save me at one point, but it saved our family. It saved our family. And to this day, it saves me every single day, because I wake up and I go, I am so grateful to have this life every single day. Because one point I didn't want to be here. There was one point my husband didn't want to be here. And I'm just so thankful. And every single time I see Heidi and Orville, I cry, and they cry, because they know how Scentsy has saved our life. And it's changed me into a better person. At least I think so. I think I'm a better person, but it's opened up my eyes. And people say that this business is a relationship-based business. To me, I think it's a self-growth business. It changes you if you allow it. If you allow yourself to evolve in this business and you grab hold of every opportunity that Scentsy gives you or that your leaders give you, you will succeed. It's not their responsibility. It's yours. If you want more, if you are tired of living how you're living, change it. I don't care if you had a crappy past. I had one too. I'm very vocal about it. You can overcome that. That doesn't define your success or your failures. That is why you should continue on and do more and do better. And how I remained sane through all this, I actually wasn't sane. There was a lot of days where I was not okay. I had panic attacks. I had mental breakdowns. Last January, I was doing an SSD call with one of my downline SSDs. And I said, I don't know what my purpose is anymore. Because at that point, I know it sounds really bad, but I had achieved a lot of the things that I wanted to achieve. Retiring my husband so he could heal, buying a house, all these things. So we're all what's left. And so I had to really dig deep, even as leaders, even as superstar directors, no matter how long you've been here, you should still always reevaluate your business. And you're going to have moments where you're going to be like, why am I here? Why am I still working? You're going to have hard moments. But what kept me going through all of those hard moments was knowing that there was a bigger reason for all of this. Even if I didn't know then, I know now. And to this day, whatever is the bigger purpose for me then, I'll figure out then. But I know for right now, I have figured out a way that my business and my personal life blend in very beautifully because I needed it to. I needed it to, and I don't ever revolve my life around Scentsy. That's how it used to be. And it only hurt my business. I now revolve Scentsy around my life. When I do my planning, I don't do Scentsy first. I do my personal life first. My husband's appointments to this day, guys, my husband will forever and ever have brain cancer. He's not ever going to be in remission because it's in his spinal fluid right back here. And he still has cancer cells. And he also has veins that are now getting tangled. So that's a whole nother thing. We just found that out. So that's great news. But I needed Scentsy to revolve around my life. I needed to fit it in where I could work. So how I've mastered it in the way that it works best for me. I have a lot of people say, like, how do you do your happy? That's probably one of the biggest questions. How do you do your happy meal? Because it changes. And I don't have one set schedule because I can't do that because I revolve Scentsy around my life. And weekly, my life changes based off of appointments, based off of baseball with my son, based off of my daughter's stuff, based off of their school events. It changes. So right here, I have the huge calendar. I'm a very visual person, so everything gets written down. Probably really old school. It's fine. It works for me. I don't use Amy. I don't use Maven. I don't use any of that. I have to write it down, and it's all in my binder, and it's all on this calendar that I think I got at like Target or something. You can get it at Home Goods or I don't know, dollar store too. But I put every Sunday, my husband and I will sit down at our dining table or on our bed, one of the places, and I go over his schedule. I go over our kids' schedule. I write it all down. And then any trainings I'm doing that week, any happy meal I'm doing that week, I can fit it in on there after my life stuff is all done. And then I can actually work out how I'm going to work. Here's the thing. I do not sit in my office all day, every day and work my business. I can't do that. I will go stir crazy. I need to be out of my house. I need to be building those relationships. I need to be meeting new people, all the things. And I feel like I work best when I'm on the go, probably because of how life has flipped our life upside down. That's just now how I work. But what helps me stay very simple, remember how I told you that I had systems that helped me remain simple? Because that's one of our core values. And I wanted to stick to that. I feel like I got away from it for a while with trying to do all the things that everybody was trying to do. And I needed to go back to our core value, which was simplicity. And one of my star directors, Lindsay Pearson, and I created simple systems. And we created these, I think, in 2020. And I'm still using them to this day because they're great for new consultants and they're great all the way up to SSDs. Teresa, I can send you a link if people want this, because all of the files are in there. And there's so many more files than what I have on hand. So as far as my team or my customers, we'll go with customers. These are just some of the things that keeps me on track. Okay. I printed off freshly new stuff for you guys. So it's a thank you and follow-up tracker. Anything I send out, or anyone who orders, write their names down. And it says order date, delivery date, written a thank you sent, follow-up done, follow-up notes. Super simple. So that is all for my thank you and follow-up trackers. Pre-orders. Y'all, this page is my favorite page in the entire world because I can put everything in here and I don't have to forget. I don't have it. Everything's right here. Anyone who pre-orders, I put it on my pre-order list. It is very simple. To-do list. This is very important. So my to-do list, I write everything down that I know I need to do for the week. And then I put it on my calendar and I break it up. So there'll be some days where I'll do emails for my team and emails for my customers. And that's all I do. Because I don't think success is behind a computer. I think success is literally outside of your house. I think success is outside of your phone. Great. There is a lot of great things on social media for you to build new customers. But I guess I'm stuck in my old ways of I want to be out there building relationships and talking to people and getting involved and all of that. So I break up my to-do list based off of what I have done. And once I achieve it, I just mark it off. Mark it off. It's so simple. It is super simple. Sample requests, people who want samples. I put them on there. And this one is one of my favorites. Scentsy Club subscribers. Oh my gosh, this is my favorite. So all you gotta do is put their name, their frequency. So 1, 2, or 3. The PRV from that, process date, and then all their shipments I can mark off. So I know that they're getting their shipments. Super simple. So those are just some of the many things that you can download from the simple systems. When Lindsay and I created this, I was working for my car. And I said, if I can't do it from my car, I'm not doing it. So there's a lot of great things in there. Again, for brand new, all the way up to SSD. And how I do my team and my leaders and all of that. I have a reports to pull every month. So this is great if you are a lead consultant and above. Reports to pull every single month. This is all of my directors and above have this. It's very important that they have this. And then we have, well, here, I'll say it's PRV, TWV, active frontline, recruiting, shooting star, sensational start, and certified. That's it. And then we have new team member tracker. That's always fun. Coaching call form. Gotta have that. If you do coaching calls, gotta have that. And this I could take on the go with me when I was in my car. I could write down my notes and all of that stuff. And right here is a frontline tracker. Super simple. It's like, I can't tell you how simple it is because it really is. And new consultant checklist. So I check off things as my new consultants do their things. It is very, very, and there's so much more. There's like, say if you have a lead going to star, there is lead the way, there's shoot for the stars, step up to superstar, and dash to director, and so on. There's a lot. And I don't want to I've already taken up a lot of your guys' time, but those simple systems work how you want it to work. They work how your life is. And systems always evolve as your life evolves. I think we need to really make that known that how I worked my business when I first started is nowhere near how I work my business now. And it's okay if things in your business don't work anymore. You have to let that go and embrace the new things, embrace the new season that you're in. That's a big thing for me, is embracing new seasons. We all go into new seasons. And I mean new seasons of life, new seasons in business, and new seasons in self-growth, all these things. We have to embrace it, and you work how it works best for you, not how Joe Schmo works their business. And Joe Schmo is always in my conversations. That person is the perfect example. Joe Schmo is the one that works all the time, behind the desk, all the things, doing so much and is burnt out. I've learned that I'd rather have freedom over being burnt out. I would rather work what I need to get done for that day and then go do other things that I enjoy. Because what also brings people into our community is other things that we enjoy, not just Scentsy. We are not Scentsy robots. That's not all we should be talking about. We should be talking about the things that bring us joy. Mine is decor. I love it. I love it so much that it probably annoys my husband because I change things all the time. But he knows I love it. And people need to know you. People need to know what else you love other than Scentsy. They know you love Scentsy. Scentsy, I know people don't like when they say Scentsy speaks for itself, but have you smelled it? It does. It speaks for itself. You just do the rest of the work. They need to know more of you. They need to know if you don't want to share the raw nitty gritty stuff, that's okay. But also don't be afraid to. If there is something that you want to share, share it. If there is an idea that you want to do it. And if you fail, that's okay. I can't tell you how many times I have failed. I actually just failed last week when I was trying to do Easter bunny little eggs. Failed at that. I got 2. I had way more than what I had made way more than what I thought. And I only got 2. But that's okay. That's okay. We pivot, we evolve, we learn from it. I think a lot of the times people use life and failures as an excuse rather than using them as a stepping stone for something more. Scentsy is only a tool in your life. Scentsy is going to get you to great things if you allow it. I think a lot of times people they don't allow it because they're scared. A lot of times people don't know what success feels like. And when that starts to happen, people get scared. It is scary. It's flipping scary, but it's super amazing and super rewarding. Lives are being changed every single day. I see it in my group. I see it in all over Scentsy. Lives are being changed. It is encouraging people to be their best authentic self. It's encouraging people to work on themselves. Again, that's why I said I don't think Scentsy is more just a relationship-based business. I think it's a self-growth business. It opened your eyes to a lot of things. And when you keep it really simple and you put your life first, your personal life first before Scentsy, and you fit Scentsy into your life how you can, you'll be good. I believe that at least. You have to believe it though. Because if I was working my business, if I had my calendar planned out with just Scentsy stuff, that's ass backwards. We don't work to do that. We don't work to revolve our life around Scentsy all day, every day. We work to live. We work to have freedom. We work to be with our families. We work to have time for ourselves. We work to go to our favorite coffee shop twice a week if we wanted to, and enjoy our time and go plant shopping or whatever we want to do. But that's what we live for. We don't live for Scentsy. Scentsy is our income. Scentsy is now our income. So I ain't got no other choice but to work. But I like to work smarter, not harder. And I look back at all of my posts from when I first joined, and I was like, somebody should have told me I was doing too much, because I didn't have a sponsor. I didn't know my sponsor. I joined under a random girl that my husband's guy at work, he's married to. I didn't know her. Rolled up to my second sponsor. Didn't know her. By the time I got to her, I didn't really need her. And she fell off, and then I was superstar director. So my superstar director, I didn't need her. Like, you have to revolve Scentsy around your life. Don't do like what I did in the beginning and revolve your life around Scentsy, because it will crumble. It will crumble. That is not what Scentsy is about. That's not what we are doing. That's not the point of Scentsy. The point is to keep it really simple with systems like ours. And if mine may be too complicated for y'all, but that's okay. That's the beauty. We get to work how we want. And as you grow and as you evolve and as you promote, I always say a new title requires a new version of you. Because when I was a director, I was like, okay, I can do this. And then I had SSD and I was like, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm doing it because it requires new versions of you. It requires new leadership skills. And it's hard, it's messy, it's crazy, but it's so rewarding and it's beautiful. And you can do this with other people and you can lean in like how all of these leaders are doing. That's the beauty of it. And there is no wrong or right way to work your business. Just stay compliant. I'm just going to say that. Just stay compliant and you'll be good. There is no one way. I have tried probably 100 different ways to work my business. And I'm sure there's going to be 100 different ways that I'm going to try again. But I'm excited for that because that means that I'm evolving and I'm growing. And as long as I continue to evolve my systems with how my life is, I'll be good. And that's what I really wanted to come on here and encourage you guys to do, to evolve your systems or however you're working your business based off your life. Because if life is chaotic, stop doing chaotic systems. Stop doing too much. Take a step back, reevaluate, go back to our core values and make it simple. That changed the game for me. That changed my entire business. And I now encourage my leaders to do that because I know like people are working 9 to 5s. I'm not telling people, hey, quit your 9 to 5 job, come do Scentsy full time. I'm saying, no, how can we fit Scentsy into your life with your personal life and your 9 to 5? How can we do that? So you can still be successful and still work your 9 to 5 and still be with your kids. So fit Scentsy into your life. Never revolve your life around Scentsy because you, like I said, will crumble. And I will get these, I'll get the link sent over to Teresa or Debbie or any of you. And that way you guys can literally just dive in and all you do, literally, mine is just in a little binder and I just have these little tabs that I can just open up to where I need to go for that day. And it works. My drawer is really messy. Don't look at it. But I just want you guys to embrace whatever season you're in, whether it's good or bad, embrace it because every season is going to teach you something. Remember that every season is going to teach you something, good or bad. You're either going to learn from it or you're going to fall on your butt and you're going to have to get right back up. And it's going to always teach you something. And that's all I have, I think, I hope. Is there any, oh my gosh, the chat. I haven't even looked at that. If there's any questions, I can definitely answer.
Thank you, Chelsea. I don't even know how to close this out. I did not bring my tissues because I was like, I've heard your story. I followed it and I've cried. And so I was like, I know her story and I want everyone else to know her story. But like, even tonight, sorry, I've learned so much more. I don't want to cry because I know I look like Kim Kardashian crying. Okay.
You're beautiful.
Thank you. So are you. So my husband's also medically retired and also suffers from PTSD. And so I watch you and I see you work your business with so much class and so much grace with a smile, and you still give back. And even though you say you don't know how you did it, like this past hour, you just showed us exactly how you did it. You know, it's not perfection, right?
No.
But you do it how it works for you. And as I'm listening to you, I'm watching one of my team members who's been in the hospital in ICU for 2 months now after a battle with COVID, and she's hooked up to oxygen and she's here. She's working her business. She's doing 1,000 PRV. She's showing up for training. She's here tonight. And her name is Rhonda Baker. And I'm just looking at all the parallels. Like some people could say, Chelsea, you know, why were you working your business with a laptop while your husband was going into surgery? But my goodness, you were there for your husband. You've never left his side. You know, you supported his military journey. You're supporting him now, your children. And the same reason why you could have unplugged and said the heck with Scentsy is the very same reason why you said, I need to stay plugged in. I need to stay consistent. I need to figure out a pattern where, you know, this works for my family. And now your husband can heal and you don't have that worry of where is money going to come from. I have been there where my husband retired and we were living in TMO, you know, in a hotel, not knowing how I'm going to get to SFR, but I'm like, I have to get there, even if I'm walking.
Yep.
I just want to tell you that you are such an inspiration to so many people that share that with you, and so many people that watch your journey silently that you don't even know are inspired by you. Your story continues, and even today, everyone doesn't know the totality of it. So thank you so much for inspiring so many of us, women and men, to keep pushing through, to find a way out of no way, and to do it with grace, and to do it your way, our way, whatever that looks like for us authentically. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I didn't think I had any more tears to shed tonight, but I just want to say thank you. And I'm going to just turn this over to our panelists. We're at the top of the hour now. It's 8 o'clock. And if someone else wants to close us out, I can't. I can't. So Amber, Kelly, Debbie, whoever wants to jump in.
I'll just jump in. So I don't know how to follow that up either, but I'm just going to do it. Somebody's got to do it, right? Chelsea, thank you so much. I think everybody's crying. And now Teresa's got people crying. You're ready to cry. We're not going to cry no more. This is an amazing call tonight. Thank you for taking the time away from your family. Thank you for just there's so many little tidbits in here that I don't think anybody even realizes. Like the one about putting your family first and scheduling your time with your family. I'm huge. If you guys go on my Facebook like an hour or two ago, I posted the same thing because it's important to schedule this time first. This business, you could work it 1 million hours a day, you guys. It's not like a job sometimes. It's fun. It's a living for some of us. You know what I mean? Some of us has quit our full-time job. And Chelsea was able to support her family while her husband was recovering and going through all the crazy obstacles of not knowing what's going to happen. And Scentsy was there to pick her up. Her Scentsy family was there to pick her up. And I think if you're a new consultant or you're rejoining or you join us every single Tuesday, you have a family that you might not have found anywhere else. Maybe you came from another direct sales and you failed 3 times like I did. Maybe this is your first time around at a direct sales business. And I can promise you, you're not going to find anything like what you experience here. And I can say that firsthand. And I see some of you guys just shaking your heads because you know it's true. You might have been in those other businesses and it didn't work out. And you know what? Maybe it did, and that's great. And you're just here as a hobby, and that's great. But I did see somebody tonight in their hospital bed, and that's amazing that you show. I want to say the name's Joe, if I remember right.
That was Rhonda.
Because I remember thinking to myself, like, damn, was it Joe?
Yeah, Joe. She's on her husband's cell phone, but that was Rhonda. And
I'm like, in your hospital bed, you're showing up, and that is the freedom that this business allows us all. I'm gonna not even close it out. I just want, if you other panelists want to say hello, goodbye, thank you, whatever you want. We'll just end it after the last panelist goes and go with that tonight.
Chelsea, I just want to say thank you again so much. I'm just going to echo everyone else. You had made a comment. You said, I don't even know what I do that makes me successful. I don't know what it is. And as I was sitting here, I was taking a note, and I'm like, you are what makes you what makes your business special, because you're willing to do things that other people aren't. Not everyone has the grit. Not everyone has the tenacity and the perseverance. That isn't stuff that you can teach someone. It's a skill we have to develop. And sometimes it takes going through those hardships to develop that skin. I was listening and I knew elements of your story, but never from like start to finish. So I really appreciate that you shared tonight, because there's some, I mean, obviously not to the same degree that you guys went through stuff, but you know, my husband, we had a 20-year plan too, and that didn't happen. And I'm very thankful thankful that Sensi was there, because I faced that same thing. Do I just try to make Sensi work, or do I go to work? And I'm like, well, I'm not doing that because I'm not paying someone to raise my kids. So I can totally relate on so many levels. But I actually was thinking about, you were like, you know, talking about your husband and being his caregiver and things like that. And it made me think of a scripture. It's at Proverbs 12:4, and it says, a capable wife is a crown to her husband. And honey, you wear that crown well. So I love you. And I just want to say thank you, and just keep being who you are.
I don't want to cry. I just want to tell you, Chelsea, thank you for reminding us that it's okay to use simple systems and not overthink things or anything like that. Thank you.
Y'all are getting some big hugs from me in 2 weeks. I'm just going to say that.
Okay, we'll toss it over to Amber.
Amber isn't on Spotlight. I'm not sure if she's still here.
Okay,
Actually, we might have lost her.
we'll close it with Debbie.
Chelsea, I want to say thank you. Big hugs to you, girl. All I can think about is the connection you and I have, because my son, as you guys may know, he had a brain tumor. He was Air Force, medically retired. So the struggle was real. I know about that laptop. My son was in surgery for 9 hours. I was right there with my laptop. So your story resonates with me and so many others, which you totally inspired me, because I almost lost my son. So, but you know, we have so much we can share, guys. I tell you, we kind of overcome it all, right? We just kind of fight through it all. But we want to just say thank you so much, Chelsea, for inspiring so many of us and sharing those awesome, simple systems with us. We love you, girl. Thank you so much for coming on board with us.
So thank you. We're going to go ahead and close the night. So Chelsea, that way you can go back to your family, but we will be hugging it out in Disney in just a couple of weeks. So thank you all. Thank you, Chelsea. And thanks for everyone who attended tonight. We'll see you all next Tuesday on another edition of Dreamstruck.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.